A few months ago, I ordered this Tesloid tent designed specifically for camping in the Tesla Model Y, and now that it's arrived, I'm dying to try it out. This tent does not come with instructions. It did come with this handy sheet of paper here with a barcode on it. However, the setup instructions have not been loaded yet. I reached out to the company after I received the tent, which was several months ago, and they did reply after a few days saying that those would be uploaded to their website shortly. But it's been at least 6 months and they're still not there. First time I tried to set this up, I found it tricky to do alone. Let's see if the lessons I learned the first time around help me out this time. I have these poles here, and I believe these are to set up the front porch roof here, so that's what we're going to do next. Got these little clips that seem to go in here to hold these in place. So the tent's mostly set up. I didn't find it particularly easy to set up by myself. It took me probably an hour to get it to this point. I learned a few things in the setup of this that I want to share with you guys so that hopefully if you have one of these, it's going to make it easier for you to. So first off, one thing I want to point out is I have these rods up here in the ceiling that seem to go in this little pocket right here. Now it looks like you have two pockets, but you don't. You actually only have one, and you have to open this up over here to even get it in there. So I think these are up here correctly, but I don't know that because there are no instructions that come with this. The thing that I had the biggest challenge with, and if you look down here, it's still trying to do it, and this keeps trying to fold in on itself, and whenever that happens, the top wants to buckle and close back up. The other thing I would point out is there are some pretty big gaps over here you'll see. Now, Tesloid provided some really strong magnets with this tent that I think go on the sides up there to hold it against the car. But you also have these big gaps down here on the side. And I have this up against the car about as tight as it can go. So I'm not sure there's any way to close those gaps. For temperature purposes, I don't think that's a big problem. However, for keeping bugs out, if you have lights on in here at night, it may be a problem. So here's an example of what I was talking about earlier when I said the tent wants to fold in on itself. If you look at this side here, it looks fairly nice and straight. If you look at the bottom, it's already curving back in, and I pulled this out, I don't know, several times. You can see it keeps wanting to slide back in. And then this side over here is the same. This curves in, and it just keeps wanting to curve in no matter how many times I pull it out. And you can see when I tried to pull that out just now, the bottom slid back in. Not one of the better designs I've seen, and that makes it fairly problematic if somebody's trying to set this tent up by themselves. Come in here, the little roof is okay. It's a little bit low. Once you get inside the tent, though, you get all kinds of headspace up here. So we've got the Climat insulated static V-Lux mat in the back here for sleeping. This is great when you're sleeping out in the cold weather. It's actually got an insulation of sorts inside of it, so it helps you from sleeping just on a cold mat. But basically, having this tent attached to the car makes it so conveniently in the morning when you get up from your sleeping spot, you can get up and stand up right inside the tent, put your clothes on, get dressed. You've got privacy back here, plus you have some space to move around. So that's the part when we were camping in the car before we really didn't have that. The tent seems to be, I haven't measured it, but it seems to be about 6 foot wide by 6 foot long. Let me tell you a little bit about my likes and dislikes. If I had to do it over again, I'm not sure I would buy this tent. The reason for that is, and these are some things I pointed out a little bit earlier, decent sized gaps in the side, and I do have some magnets I think I can put down on those. I have to be very cautious they don't scratch the car. The magnets are pretty strong, but there are some gaps over there on the side. I've also found some areas within the tent where the quality seems to be lacking a little bit. For instance, here you can see it wasn't stitched together well, and you can actually see a little area where there's daylight. I found several of those areas within the tent, so it makes me concerned that, you know, in really wet weather we may have some leakage problems, or the tent may just not hold up that well. I guess we just have to see as we go along. We do have an additional piece that goes over the top for rain purposes. I didn't put that up today because I hope to have this torn down before it rains, and I'm not actually camping today. I'm actually in my backyard. That's why you can hear all that noise in the background. We got a lot of neighbors taking advantage of the nice weather to get out and trim their hedges and clean up the leaves and do all those things that you have to do right after winter time. So we've been competing with them as far as noise levels most of the day. One other thing I discovered that I did wrong initially is when I got done, I had all these little T pieces left over, and it took me a minute inside this tent to figure out where they go. But basically, you open this strip over here, you stick the T on here, you slide it in this side, and you slide it down from the top here, and you buckle this back up. That's one of those things that you'd probably know if they gave you some instructions with this tent. All right, well, I had a good time today, but it's getting late in the afternoon, and it's about time to start taking all this down. So I expect it'll go down a lot easier than it went up. But once I get all the extra stuff put away, I'll bring the camera back on and show you guys how to do the tear down, fold up, and put away. All right, so once you get the tent torn down, then it's basically just a matter of kind of folding it in on itself. As you can see, it's already started collapsing and I haven't really done anything with it yet. So I'm going to attempt to show you the proper way to fold it up. Once you've got it folded in half, I'm going to take this corner right here. My final thoughts on the tent. Well, it wasn't quite as easy to set up as I had hoped it would be. Definitely more of a two-person operation, but it does expand the camping area of our Tesla Model Y, so that's a plus. I'm not positive about the quality. We did see some stitching issues inside of it and a couple real small holes, so I don't know how well it's going to hold up to frequent use. That's yet to be seen. But I'm curious, who else has purchased this tent? What do you think about it? How easy is it for you to set up and use? And just why don't you give us a comment, tell us your overall thoughts. And if you have a better option, drop that in the comments as well so we can go out and check that out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you on the next one.